Hi everyone and welcome to Unit Review. We're your hosts Jack
and Dan.
Today we're going to be looking at the Necron Heavy Destroyers, the Lokhust Destroyers.
Lokhust Heavy Destroyers, yeah.
Beauts. Absolute beauts, Dan. Very powerful, very strong, very maneuverable, which is really good.
Yes.
And just all around a very good backline shooting army.
Yeah, very useful unit. Let's get into some of the versatility and why we like them. And before we do that, if you do like these videos, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps us out as a channel. So let's get stuck into it though. Do you want me to start with the stat block?
Go ahead, Dan, as we always do.
So Heavy Destroyer's stat block is movement of 8.
Yeah,
they've got
nice.
toughness of 6, which is quite nice.
Very handsome.
3 up save. They've got 4 wounds each.
4 wounds
Big boys.
each. Very strong.
Leadership 7 and OC of 2.
Everyone always forgets the OC2 because people think, oh, well, they're not battle line, they're just an auxiliary unit. It's like, all right, OC1, I'll take, no, OC2. So
you can see the models there. I think they get 1 OC for their body and another OC for their massive arse.
for the thick,
the
cheeks. Yes, very
I've already
good.
taken us down a road we don't want to go there, are we?
let's
get. I'll get us back on track.
Back on track. Yeah. War gear.
War gear.
We'll move on.
Go for it. Ian.
So war gear. Again, this is where the unit really starts to shine. So we'll do the smaller weapon first.
It's an Enmitic Exterminator. This is your anti-infantry, really good for clearing hordes and chaff.
Yep.
It's 36-inch range. It's got 6 attacks, hitting on a ballistic skill of 3, strength 6. AP 1 and damage 1.
Yeah.
But it's got the heavy keyword, so it stands still, you're hitting on 2s.
Lovely.
It's got rapid fire 6, so if you're within 18 inches, you're getting 12 shots.
Very nice.
It's got sustained hits 1. So you can see how it stacks up to be really good at like clearing those chaff units.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously with the new meta that's coming out as well, it feels like that one might get taken a bit more than the other one now.
Yeah, I think possibly. I mean, you can imagine that's quite a decent Overwatch threat, can't you? We'll talk about that in a little bit, I suppose. But the more common gun is our personal favourite.
It certainly is. The Gauss Destructor. What a name. What a name. So this is 48-inch range, has 1 attack, hitting on freeze, strength 14, massive, minus 4 AP in flat damage 6.
That's so good.
Flat damage 6. Everyone always goes, oh, a D6. No.
Yeah.
Flat damage 6.
Yeah.
But a lot to tie in with that, they've got the heavy keyword. So if they stay still, they'll be hitting on 2s, as we say. And they've also got lethal hits. So if you get that 6 through on the hit roll, goes straight through.
Lovely.
Which is unreal. Really good.
And game will come on to this. They do have a close combat weapon, but it's not very good.
No. Don't get them in combat, basically. But yeah, it's 2 attacks, hitting on freeze, strength 4, no AP, and 1 damage.
Yeah,
if you're getting these in combat, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, yeah, very much so.
Yeah. But what about abilities, Dan? You want to start off with that?
Yeah, they've got reanimation protocols like all Necrons do. So you're getting D3 wounds back on the unit in your command phase.
Yeah.
And there's ways to buff that, obviously, with other units.
Yeah.
And then their unit ability is optimized for slaughter, which is a great name.
I love the names.
Each time a model in this unit makes an attack with the Enmitic Exterminator, and as long as that target isn't a monster or a vehicle, you can reroll wound rolls of 1.
Yep.
Alternatively, if they're equipped with a Gauss Destructor and they are targeting a monster or vehicle, they can reroll wound rolls of 1.
Very nice.
So that just gives them that. If you're not getting those lethal hits through, that means you're just getting that extra chance to turn those 1s into the 2s or 3s that you need to wound.
Exactly. And if you're firing the Gauss Destructor, strength 14, most things are going to be on freeze, if not 2s. Yeah. So the reroll of the 1 just gives that extra little safety net. Kind of
it's
thing.
nice.
It sucks when you roll a 2 if you are going for that kind of
goodness,
But most times you'll be getting that through, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, very good. Unit compositions next. So you can run them in squads of 1, 2, or 3. They are 50 points each as well. So I find the sweet mark to be roughly about the 2 mark. To be
that's
fair.
Interesting. Yeah.
But it also depends on kind of what you're kind of wanting to bring. Because if you've got enough points, I recommend 3 with the
Overlord.
The
Lokhust Lord.
Lokhust Lord, that's the word. Thank you. I do recommend that, which we'll get onto later. But yeah, like that's kind of the sweet mark is 2 for me. 2 big guns.
Yeah.
So they're just very anti-tank. What about keywords, Dan?
So keywords, they've got mounted, so they're not infantry. So bear that in mind for moving through terrain.
Yes.
They've got fly, a destroyer cult, and Lokhust Heavy Destroyers. So nothing to worry about there.
No, but apart from the fly, obviously anything like has
anything that's got anti-fly, good point. Yes.
Yeah, but apart from that, nothing that's standing out, nothing that adds to the value. Best attachment for this unit, probably going to be the Hypercrypto one.
Yeah, I mean they don't, barring the Annihilation Legion, they don't synergize you don't get extra buffs from any of the detachments.
Correct.
But they definitely work best in Hypercrypt because
basically because you can move them around. So at the end of your opponent's turn, you can basically bring them off the table. And very similar to the Doomsday Arc, you can get them in the right positions to basically get the right shots off that you need. A lot of enemy players will hide their vehicles that don't want to get in line of sight of these, which is the best thing to do.
Yes.
So instead, using that ability, you kind of get around. I would also maybe probably throw in as well, now that I think about it, I do like the Annihilation Legion because it's one of the legions I typically run. And I keep forgetting that the Mask of Death that we'll talk about in a second gives them some really good buffs.
Yes.
Especially at range.
Because they've got the Destroyer keyword, they some of those strats in Annihilation Legion do synergize quite well.
They do. The detachment ability sucks because you get the +1 to charge and reroll charge.
You don't want these in combat.
Again, if you're getting these in combat, you're doing something wrong, basically.
Well, let's go into them stratagems then. Do you want to kick us off with Mask of Death?
Certainly will. Yeah, so Mask of Death, it's 1 CP. It is basically in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, you select one Destroyer cult or flayed one, so these are the Destroyer cults unit, and then what happens is that until the end of that phase, each time an attack targets that unit, you subtract 1 from the hit roll. Really good. So a lot of things typically hit on freeze nowadays, so go pushing them to 4s, 50-50, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's a really good defensive strat, that one.
Comes in handy, especially with those big high weapons like those melters that come at you. Knights have the melter guns. They will take out one of those, get through, it just takes out one of these guys flat, reducing that, or like they hit on 4 freeze going to 4s, it just makes them safer.
Yeah.
For 1 CP.
Yeah, definitely worth a look.
That's the first one. What the next one?
The next one is an offensive stratagem, which you can tell by the name because it's called Murderous Reanimation.
It's really good.
So it's a unit that has just destroyed an enemy unit or just caused an enemy unit that was not below half strength to become below half strength. Your reanimation protocols activate.
Yeah.
So you have to be offensive to get it, but then it generates wounds back on your unit.
It's really good. Yeah. It's primarily just you want to keep these guys alive, basically. And the 4 wounds each, typically they're going to be, at least when they get attacked, they're going to be typically below strength.
Now, you're using it in the fight phase, so it's one of those ones that, like you said, to try and keep them alive if they're getting tagged. So it is useful, definitely. But try and avoid them getting tagged in the first place if you can.
We'll get onto it why, but this little fella we've got hiding here can hit in combat quite well.
He can provide a little punch there, can't he? Yeah.
When he hits hard, it does kind of clap. But again, don't get them in combat. But this one's really good to keep them alive because again, with that 2 OC, that throws a lot of people off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really good. But we should jump straight on to how best to play this unit then?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah. So first one is basically, again, I run them in squads of 2 to 3 typically with the Gauss Destructors. I love saying that word. It's so good, isn't it? But basically, you keep them back in your deployment zone and kind of semi-zone out any maybe deep strikes that are coming in. So typically have like a very chaff unit in the middle of my home field objective. Then either side of my home field objective, I've got 2 squads of these, 2 to 3 of them. And with the Gauss Destructors, they just provide such good firepower that no one's really going to be kind of going into your firing lines.
Yes.
And if anything does and you don't take these out, they're going to hit hard, especially when they've got the reanimation coming in alongside the, which we'll get onto in a second, but obviously paired with the Lokhust Lord. Lokhust Lord basically gives them lethals on 5s.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Gauss Destructor, getting 5s through, automatically wounding.
Big.
Now, even if you don't wound, you've still got strength 14, but
through
anyways,
it comes back to what we're talking about. You don't want to be rolling, like if you're targeting a Land Raider, you don't want to be rolling those 2s to wound.
No.
If you can skip in any dice game, if you can skip the dice rolling step, it's a big advantage. Yeah. So lethals on 5s on a 1-shot gun is really good.
Really nice. But even on the other weapon, whether it's the 6 weapon, the 6 attacks, the what was it called again? The
Enigmatic Exterminator.
Yes, that one. Basically, horde armies. It has sustained 1. So
sustain on 5s.
Sustain on 5s instead. Yeah. Getting those extra hits through on those horde armies would be very nice.
Yeah, if you can get in half range, you're getting 12 shots, and 5s and 6s are sustained. Then you're gonna rack up quite a lot of hits. You could put some decent hurt on a 20-man blob of whatever.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Sometimes I used to bring like two Destructors and then one of those little smaller weapons.
Yes.
Really just to kind of have that flexibility of whatever kind of comes at me, I've got the firepower, but also extra little bit of firepower for those horde armies.
Yeah, that's really, and also I guess that would then mean that the third, you can kill the Enigmatic Exterminator first, so you're retaining your anti-tank firepower if you wanted to.
Or if they don't have any tanks, then you could get rid of the Gauss Destructor ones a bit sooner as well. So it kind of gives you that little flexibility of which ones you want to get rid of.
That's really a really good idea.
But again, pairing it with the Lokhust Lord, he has the res orb to bring them back. So again, if you think about it, maybe in one turn you might lose 2 of them, so you go down to 1. Well, you have your reanimation built in naturally, so you're gonna get back D3 wounds. You might only get back 2 wounds, so only 1 of them comes back. Then you pop the reanimation at the end of your movement phase. Then you're going to be bringing back D6 wounds. Right. So you're going to be, hopefully, with a good roll or a semi-decent roll, you'll bring the full squad back.
Yeah, that's really...
So it's a full firepower back.
Yeah, that's going to cause your opponent to cry.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, you can have them, obviously, the lords in both of them.
Yeah.
You can do the res orb in 2 different turns.
And not talking about huge amounts of points considering the firepower. Like, you know, there are 150 points for 3 plus the lords, so you're like 200 odd points.
Yeah.
It's not an enormous amount. No. If you can... And the bonus you get from that lord in terms of buffing their melee out, their shooting output, and also their resilience is really quite good.
Yeah, what's it, a flat 6 each? So what's that, 18?
Yeah.
That 18 wounds through potentially if you bring a squad of 3.
Yeah, 3 Gauss Destructors. Yeah,
you'll be scaring a lot of tanks.
And as you did point out there, the lord has also got a little bit of melee punch. So while we're not advocating that you charge these up the board, if something does tag you, that you will have a little bit of a surprise hit clap back.
Yeah, but primarily the reason why I like them for is because I typically do keep them back at the zone in my area.
Yeah.
So when I do get deep strike, I can basically retreat back onto my home field objective.
Right.
So when I get charged, well, I've got 2 OC each. So I'm actually most of the time I'm actually saving or keeping my guys on my home field, which is keeping my home field objective away from them.
That's a good tactic.
And then when he claps back and hits hard with his staff, I'm basically using that stratagem to bring back more wounds.
Yes. I love it. There's a nice synergy there,
Yeah, they're very tough. They're very strong. They've got lots of wounds. They're like a meat sack.
Yeah.
Without the meat, basically. But yeah, that's the kind of ways I like to play them.
Good.
I like them. Best ways to fight against this unit, Dan? What do you think?
Yeah, as we've mentioned, they haven't got. Particularly if there is not a Locust Lord with them, get them tied up in combat, even with some chaff because they're not going to kill them. So they're going to force them to fall back, which means they lose a round of shooting, which particularly on the Gauss Destructors is big. You know, the Necron player wants to be shooting those every round.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, and then the other thing is if you're in a gun battle with them, hit first and hit hard.
Yes.
So while they are relatively tough in terms of infantry and mounted, they will go down to anti-tank fire quite easily.
Yeah, if you're going to shoot at them, make sure you take them out, and then make sure you take the entire unit out.
Yeah.
Don't like many things in Necrons.
Yeah.
Don't leave any one of them alive.
Yes.
Make sure you destroy the entire unit.
Yeah.
Before you move on.
Yeah, very true.
Don't split fire against them, is what I would say.
Yeah,
but I think
they are worth. If I'm playing against Necrons, they're usually fairly high on my priority list because the Gauss Destructors putting 6 wounds on you, flat 6 damage. You need, they'll work through any big tank, vehicle, knight, anything. So you need to get a shot of them.
Well, a lot of transports are toughness 12, wounds 12. Sorry.
Yes.
So basically 2 of them get through.
Yeah.
So that's why I typically bring like 2 or 3 because then it's just like boom.
Yeah.
It's gonna go. It's gonna pop, which is unreal. But
good.
I think they're the best ways to play it and play against it, right?
Yes, it's a relatively straightforward video this week, but they are for us. It's an auto include pretty much.
For me, I mean, I love destroyers and destroyers. I've played one, so it's a massive include for me because again, it's just 100 points. Again, if you bring 2 of them, 100 points, relatively cheap.
Yep.
Compared for the fire output and damage output, it's really good.
I like to run them with the 3 and a Lord, just to max it out. And I think in Hypercrypt you can get some real value out of that. I'll be really interested to hear from anybody that's running the Enmitic Exterminators like that, because in Hypercrypt you can get nice up, close up and personal with your opponent, and then put a lot of shots into their infantry units.
And if they don't get charged back, just take them back off.
Move
them somewhere else for next time.
Yeah.
Really good way.
Thank you very much. Let us know as usual in the comments how you like to use them, and if you like this video, like and share and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.